Today I'm going over the section in chapter 11 called The Problem and the Answer. This is a very simple course. Perhaps you do not feel you need a course which, in the end, teaches you only reality is true. But do you believe it? When you perceive the real world, will you recognize that you did not believe it? Yet the swiftness with which your new and only real perception will be translated into knowledge will leave you but an instant to realize that this alone is true. Beautiful words to tell us that this world is a false illusion, and heaven, which is the state of oneness, which is our true reality, is the only thing that is true. And it only takes us an instant to realize this. That's the holy instant. That's when we have that instant that we can perceive correctly. We can perceive our truth. And then everything you made will be forgotten. The good and the bad, the false and the true. For as heaven and earth become one, even the real world will vanish from your sight. The end of the world is not its destruction, but its translation into heaven. The reinterpretation of the world is the transfer of all perception to knowledge. The reason that he's saying that the real world will vanish from our sight is because sight is perception. We only see within the false world. Once we are awakened, we are just being. There is no sight. There is no perception. There's just beingness. And that is knowledge. The Bible tells you to become as little children. Little children recognize that they do not understand what they perceive, and so they ask what it means. Do not make the mistake of believing that you understand what you perceive, for its meaning is lost to you. Yet the Holy Spirit has saved its meaning for you, and if you will let Him interpret it, He will restore you to what you have thrown away. Yet while you think you know its meaning, you will see no need to ask it of Him. So Holy Spirit holds the memory of God for us within this dream. We need to let our mind become like little children and allow Holy Spirit to show us the way. We cannot perceive correctly. We are very confused like a small child. But we don't need to ask Holy Spirit to explain it to us. We would never even understand from our ego perception. And that's why He has saved its meaning for us. And that's why we're being asked to let Holy Spirit take over our mind and reinterpret our truth for us. He will restore our truth because we chose to throw it away. You do not know the meaning of anything you perceive. Not one thought you hold is wholly true, right? We're completely confused. We believe this world is true, and none of it is. Our belief in separation, fear, attack, defense, all of that is false. And even when we perceive truth here within the illusion, it's still not wholly true because we're still perceiving. We still have a split mind and we're still thinking that we're in this world. The recognition of this is your firm beginning. Instruction in perception is your great need, for you understand nothing. Recognize this, but do not accept it, for understanding is your inheritance. Perceptions are learned, and you are not without a teacher. Yet your willingness to learn from Him depends on your willingness to question everything you learned of yourself. For you who learned amiss should not be your own teacher. So He's reminding us that Holy Spirit is our teacher. We are confused. We know nothing. We should never let ego tell us anything because ego is wrong and confused. If we give our mind over to Holy Spirit or to Jesus, it doesn't matter which teacher you prefer, our mind will be cleansed and we will begin learning the truth. And our truth is our inheritance. No one can withhold truth except from himself. Yet God will not refuse you the answer He gave. Ask then for what is yours, and do not defend yourself against truth. You made the problem. God has answered. Ask yourself, therefore, but one simple question. Do I want the problem, or do I want the answer? Decide for the answer and you will have it, for you will see it as it is, and it is yours already. Another way of telling us that Holy Spirit has provided the answer for us. Our truth is just waiting for us. We just need to be willing to accept that truth, to hear that answer. We made the problem. We are believing that we are separate egos. The answer to that problem, the solution, the wholeness is coming from Holy Spirit or Jesus. And if we allow Holy Spirit to reinterpret our nightmare, we will then no longer be afraid. And then we can laugh happily at our fears, at our silly dreams, at our silly nightmare. You, my child, are afraid of your brothers and of your father and of yourself. Yep, that's what egos are. They are afraid of everyone and everything, including God. But you are merely deceived in them. Ask what they are of the teacher of reality. That's Holy Spirit. Ask Holy Spirit. And hearing his answer, you too will laugh at your fears and replace them with peace. For fear lies not in the reality, but in the minds of children who do not understand reality. That's us. We do not understand reality. It is only their lack of understanding that frightens them. And when they learn to perceive truly, they are not afraid. So when we learn to perceive with Holy Spirit, we no longer are afraid. And because of this, they will ask for truth again when they are frightened. It is not the reality of your brothers or your father or yourself that frightens you. You do not know what they are, and so you perceive them as ghosts and monsters and dragons. Ask what their reality is from the one who knows it, and he will tell you what they are, for you do not understand them. And because you are deceived by what you see, you need reality to dispel your fears. Would you not exchange your fears for truth if the exchange is yours for the asking? For if God is not deceived in you, you can be deceived only in yourself. Yet you can learn the truth about yourself from the Holy Spirit, who will teach you that as part of God, deceit in you is impossible. When you perceive yourself without deceit, you will accept the real world in place of the false one you have made. And then your Father will lean down to you and take the last step for you by raising you unto himself. That is the last step that happens when we awaken from the dream. And in the meantime, it is our job to keep giving our mind over to Holy Spirit, to keep practicing perceiving correctly by letting Holy Spirit guide our mind, by practicing seeing Spirit in everyone and everything everywhere. That's our only job, is to keep practicing. The Holy Spirit, who is the memory of God, will do all the rest.